Hey, Lizards, Gizmo here. I wanted to share some of the cigars we'll be smoking in July and August, so you can smoke along with us if you'd like. For Cubans, we've got Partagas Series P number 2, Vegas Robania Unicos, H. Upman number 2, and a 1970s Los Statos Deluxe. And for New Worlds, we've got Aging Room Quattro and Espressivo, Oliva V and Churchill, Arturo Fuente Hemingway Series and Signature, and Tatuajes Reserva Broadleaf Regios, with much, much more to come. Have a suggestion? Email us, loungelizardspod@gmail.com. That's loungelizardspod@gmail.com. And now, let's get into the episode. Welcome to the Lounge Lizards podcast. It's so good to have you here. It's a leisure and lifestyle podcast founded on our love of premium cigars, as well as whiskey, travel, food, work, and whatever else we feel like getting into. My name is Gizmo, and tonight I'm joined by Rooster, Pooba, Senator Pagoda, and Bam Bam. And our plan is to smoke a cigar, drink some scotch, talk about life, and of course, have some laughs. So take this as your 37th official invitation to join us and become a card-carrying lounge lizard. Plan to meet us here once a week. We're going to smoke a New World cigar tonight, share our thoughts on it, and give you our formal lizard rating. We explore one of the most popular New World marcas, discuss the LIV Golf League, and the Lizards roast me about an infamous night of drinking, all among a variety of other things for the next hour. So sit back, get your favorite drink, light up a cigar, and enjoy as we pair 18-year-age Chivas Regal with the Oliva V in Churchill. Our first Oliva V on the pod tonight, the Series V Churchill Extra, a beefy, large, intimidating 52 ring gauge by 7-inch cigar. We have a lot of history with this cigar, boys.
We do.
A lot of history.
I think a lot of people have a lot of history with this cigar.
That's a good point.
I know a lot of people who really love this cigar.
It's a very popular cigar.
It's one of our most requested cigars we've ever had on the pod.
Yeah.
It's so popular, some only smoke this cigar.
That's true. It's very true.
Tasty.
Some do.
It has a unique smell on the wrapper, I got to say.
It's very, very Bob Baffert. very, very barnyard.
Very equestrian.
Very equestrian.
Very equestrian. Bob Baffert. Isn't he suspended from ever participating in horse racing ever again?
My point exactly.
I heard he got into shooting.
It's true. That must be what he's doing now. All right, boys, let's cut this thing. See, we're getting on the cold draw on the wrapper.
Cold draw is not bad. It's okay.
It's not bad. A little
No.
fruity.
Yeah, like a typical New World.
Yeah, New World dried fruit.
Yeah, cold draw's not bad.
It does not smell great, though. I mean, it does not.
There's
No.
some things that are happening pre-light for me. That are
This
just-
smells like that Opus that I got
Yes.
that night we did
Yes.
the Opus episode. For some reason, mine smelled like horse shit.
Yeah, that's exactly what this smells like.
Because for the listener, I was smelling it before we started to record, and it smelled like a racetrack. Like I was,
A dirty barn.
well,
It
yeah,
does. It really does.
it smelled like something that I would you'd see in the paddock down at Belmont.
In all serious though, a lot of guys love this cigar.
I
Yeah.
know, I know.
We've gotten, let me tell you, out of
This
any
marca is very popular.
any market, this is the one, New
It's very
World, that
popular.
we've gotten more requests for than any.
Is
But
that
that
right?
little
It's a Oliva.
box press Maduro one is good.
The
It's
Melania?
really good.
Melania.
Is
Yeah, it's
a
not bad.
pretty good cigar.
It's a little sweeter.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, should we smoke this thing?
Yeah, let's light this thing, boys. Our Nicaraguan Puro tonight, the
Pagoda.
Oliva
Pagoda, I
Series
stole
V,
your lighter
Churchill Extra,
Oh, that's...
for the moment.
52
Not a
ring gauge by 7 inches.
This cigar requires a big torch.
The wrapper is a sun-grown Habano. The binder is Nicaraguan, and the filler is Jalapa Valley Ligero.
I got that charcoal starter thing out on this. You know the thing you start your charcoal with the butane?
Mm-hmm. Here, you need that.
Guess is that jalapa like in Mexico?
I,
It's a region
I'm
of
not
Mexico?
sure. It says it's a Nicaraguan Puro,
Oh, okay.
so maybe it's just a region.
Region in Nicaragua.
Yeah.
Now you got to admit, initially, first draw is not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad.
No.
A lot of smoke output.
Yep, and a little fruity.
Yeah.
This is a big cigar, man.
Yeah. It's pretty mild initially for me.
Oh, this is gonna build.
No bitterness.
sweat.
No bitterness. Yeah.
Oh man. 4?
The lighter got so hot.
That's Gizmo's favorite lighter.
Fucking 4 of
No,
that.
that's my lighter. He forgot his.
Oh,
Is that an ST DuPont? He just ejected onto the floor?
No, it's a Vertigo. I know
Oh,
better.
Okay.
you better.
Yeah, this is not bad on the first light here.
No.
You know, I mean, I look at this cigar and I hesitate anytime I see a Churchill I don't know, simply because it's a commitment.
Yeah.
But this is a bigger. This is 52 ring gauge. This is like a
Churchill Extra.
yeah.
It's definitely big.
Yeah,
You
this
better
is,
you better like this if you're gonna light it.
Yeah.
That's so-
I mean, it's not bad.
No.
Very mild.
Yeah. Surprisingly, getting a slight canoeing over here.
Yeah.
A bit.
What are you guys getting flavor wise so far?
A little fruity.
Yeah, I get dried fruit and something that's cocoa-ish on the finish, like either super dark chocolate or dark roasted coffee beans, something around that flavor profile.
yeah, maybe a little nutty
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. I feel like the smoke to me is almost like a little chalky or something. Like it's almost gritty. I don't know why that is, but it's different. I don't remember ever having that before.
Oh,
This would
you know, the podcast is funny
this would
because I'll tell you why. Can I tell you guys why? We're all different. We like different things and everything, but like I'm smoking a cigar that quite frankly I would just never smoke in my life ever.
Yeah.
This old and if the listeners just like send bad emails and say Puba's a douchebag, this is not a cigar. Like the size I wouldn't pick. I wouldn't pick this for so many reasons. You know, and I'm not coming in judging it, but it's just
Yes,
so
you are.
Oh, yes, you are.
big and huge and ridiculous.
Someone
And-
has to bring Puba back down
Yeah.
from the ceiling, and it's a cigar you wouldn't pick up now.
Here's
But the Puba of old may have picked up some
Oh, no.
Ashtons and some. more
well, yeah.
questionable,
Say, look, listen,
not too long ago.
guys. Oh, okay, fair enough.
But he's gone. I mean, he's like, completely.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Flavor profile
Gizmo used to eat chocolate in his cigar. It's apparent.
This is true. We all used to have a primitive palate.
Speak for yourself, Giz.
So the wrapper wasn't chocolate enough.
honestly, just to get back to the cigar, I feel like you got to rate this for what it is for the moment. Like all the previous recordings, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
We have preconceived notions about the cigar. There's no doubt about it.
We're rating already?
Well, no,
Oh.
but I think right now for what it is,
No, it's not bad.
initially,
It's not bad.
It's
No,
smoking okay.
I think Bam brings up an important point in the
Yeah.
sense that I didn't think even on the light that I thought I'd have a very negative reaction to this, and it's not overly harsh or nothing's too aggressive so
no.
far, and so it's not bad to start.
It is a well-made cigar, right? The wrapper's really nice.
yeah.
You know, I'm gonna course correct a little bit because
There you go.
I think it's the size.
Yeah,
I totally agree.
we don't
I think
like
it's the
this.
size.
Yeah,
It's too big.
Right. Like it's really because if this was a box pressed, like that, don't they make a box press?
The Melania
the
V.
Melania V.
The Melania V. Now I don't know how that well regarded that cigar is within
It's
the
very
line.
popular.
Grinder loves it.
But
It's a
very
good yard
popular.
cigar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
right. But in other words, the size of it, like I'm just looking at this and I think I'm just with apprehension going, I'm going to smoke this whole thing. Like maybe that's why I'm just kind of like feeling apprehensive about it.
I just want to understand the flavor that this imparts, and I say that because I feel like we should talk about this. You meet so many people when you're a member of different cigar lounges, and I remember meeting someone who exclusively smoked this exact cigar in this shape, this Vitola, exactly what we have in our hand, and I was very shocked and confused as to how someone could smoke only one type of cigar their whole life.
That's all he smokes.
It's baffling.
Never introduce variety or anything else. So I just the curiosity has been killing me to try this cigar, given that someone could enjoy this so much that that's just all they want to, dive into.
It's actually I'm being a dick. It started
not
off.
bad.
It's
Yeah.
not bad.
It's
It
not
started off good. I'm being a lunatic.
I think I know someone who could print a better label for this cigar, but
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, the
It's
label is
decent.
not. Yeah, it is not special at all.
You mean the poopy brown color with the?
Yeah, it is not.
How much is the stick?
Yeah, good question.
It's $2.55 a box. You get
50.
you
12
get
bucks.
24 in there, so they're about $10 a stick.
$10 a
10.
stick. Okay.
Which is, I mean, if
Yeah.
listen, if you like this flavor profile
For
and
what
you
you're
want to
getting,
spend an hour and a half or an hour or
it's a
whatever
great
it
price.
is,
Great price.
yeah, and
that's a good
also
price for that kind of time.
yeah.
The way I would recommend we approach this, at least the way I approach new worlds that are very reasonably priced. Like this is a big cigar for $10, right?
No, yeah, that's true.
The utility for me when we do this is, and I've brought this up before, when I end up, quickly visiting a cigar shop or lounge, and they don't allow outside cigars, I must buy something there, and the selection can be fairly limited. And just what's something that is gonna be serviceable to just have a quick smoke and something that I'm not gonna hate. And so that's kind of the lens through which I'm viewing this cigar. Of would I just in a pinch have to buy something? They happen to have it. Is this something that could satisfy enough to be serviceable?
Yes, and in a social situation, more importantly, so I've had actually quite a few, many of those robustos, the ones with Melanias or whatever, in social situations like outdoors after a hunt. You know what I mean? Where you're just kind of casually like just, you're just hanging out. It's like, hey, here,
Or a
smoke
barbecue.
or a barbecue or
Yeah.
something where you're not focusing on things that much and you're just having some drinks. You know what? It is that particular cigar, which by the way, it has a similar like flavor to this.
It
There's
does.
it really does. You kind of just go through it and it's good. Now, I think because I was initially reacting to the actual, that's not a big commitment. That Robusto, so you're kind of like, cool, like I'll just smoke this. When looking at this, I think at first I'm going, I'm really going to get into this whole thing for this long.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the in my experience with these, that little one that says, okay, it can I'll give it that much attention.
Yeah.
But to give it this much attention,
That's pretty
which
fair.
is mega attention,
Yes.
is telling me something different.
I think
not
it's
about
a
the taste.
very fair comment.
Do you know what I'm saying?
From the point of view of the size, the shape, the Vitola.
yeah.
I think that's all fair, but one thing I have a different perspective on. I don't like when we are so hesitant around larger cigars, not in ring gauge, just a Churchill or just something that's going to be a longer commitment. I say that because I feel like we sit here and we say, well, that's going to be a really long commitment. But the reality is most times that we meet up to have a cigar,
Oh, yeah.
right? We're smoking, let's say, even if it's a short session,
2
we're
hours.
having 2 Robustos.
2 hours.
And so
minimum.
that's 2 hours. And so, this is like an hour and a half. It like kind of splits the difference between them. So yes, it's a long commitment, but I don't think it's like such an extraordinary amount of time that
No, you're missing my point. I'm saying a commitment to
This stick.
to this
to
stick
this particular
to this
stick.
particular
Gotcha,
stick for
gotcha.
me. In other words, a Robusto would probably is going to rate higher for me than committing to this flavor profile for so long.
Gotcha.
That's all I'm saying. I mean, dude, you know what? I'll smoke a Lucy. I'll smoke a
Right.
Hoyo Double Corona when
Sure.
they're good, or
Chef's
or
edition.
whatever chefs. Dude, I love big long cigars,
Right.
long smokes. But you got to really like this. I guess is what I'm saying is you got to really like this flavor to go in this big on a Churchill Extra.
That's fair.
Yeah.
I'm
It's a pretty
curious,
big smoke.
What's
It's a big boy.
What's everyone getting now? Half inch in.
Getting some spice.
Yeah, getting a little more spice. I'm
bit.
getting that Nicaraguan kind of oomph a little bit
It's
in the back of my throat.
surprisingly still light for me. I'm getting a bit of a flavor ramp up.
Slight bit of pepper, but not
yeah,
much.
yeah. It's surprising.
It'll build though, I would imagine. These things can.
But for me, it's surprising in a good way.
Yeah, agreed.
I
No, I
expected-
agree.
So like the Melanio is meant to be like a smoother,
Medium.
less bold version of the regular V line.
Okay.
And so I was expecting this to start maybe even too aggressive for my palate. And
Okay.
I think what we're all saying is like, this is not starting
Not
aggressive,
at all.
which is good.
Yeah.
Very good.
I'm surprised.
Smokable.
I'm
It's
surprised.
smokable. So
And
far.
again, that goes back to the bias of looking at this cigar, to Puba's point, and to what we were all saying. We're laughing about it. Obviously, we have a history of seeing this cigar smoked a lot in our prior lounge. and we have some laughs about that. But I am surprised to where this is landing right now, 3/4 of an inch in.
Yeah.
I can't knock it so far.
No, I'm happier. I was
Yeah.
kind of goofing off at first, but yeah,
You've settled down.
I've settled down.
For now.
You've become the banker now. I can see that.
But it tastes pretty good.
Yeah,
It does.
and I mean, for a $10 stick, I mean, it seems reasonable in value so
Yeah.
far.
Yeah.
No question.
Pagoda, what are you thinking about this thing?
Yeah, to all your points, I was expecting something very different. I was expecting a lot of cocoa, coffee. To that, I don't know. That was my expectation going into the cigar, but it's been relatively mild from the perspective, smoking end. So
I don't think it's mild.
No, it's medium.
No,
it's
it's
medium.
definitely medium.
I
Yeah,
think it's
no,
it's
milder
gonna
comparative
pay-
to what I was expecting.
and I'm getting a great cocoa flavor with some fruit and a bit of pepper there too. So
So
Kinda complex.
I'm getting that too. In the first half inch, I wasn't getting any sweeter chocolate or cocoa notes.
you're getting it now though.
But now,
Yeah.
after a full inch,
Mhm.
all of a sudden it's gotten a lot sweeter, like closer to milk chocolate
Wow.
I would,
in a way that I like.
I would,
It's actually
I would,
good.
I would
Agree.
agree with that. It's getting better. I'm taking a more mature outlook on this cigar.
I gotta say, so there's one thing about this that's really reminding me of the EP Carrillo we did,
The El Senador.
the
The blue one?
the Pledge prequel.
Yeah.
There's a bit of a touch of that flavor in this.
I
can see
like
that.
I
Well,
like
as
I
of
mean
right
that
now-
dried fruit kind of upfront deal.
Yeah, it's something about the way that it's hitting the back of my throat.
I think this is better than that.
I think so far,
I
definitely.
agree.
Yeah.
Actually, it's funny you say that. It is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the El Senador is better than this.
So far, for sure.
Hands down.
Yeah, there's a hint of that in there too. The
Yeah.
El Senador.
I mean, for, $10 for a Churchill.
Mm-hmm.
That's a hell of a
And
value.
yeah, I think it's so far good value.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of guys who will smoke, the bigger ring gauges and, bigger cigars. It's just, that's what they're drawn to. I guess it's a matter of preference.
Yeah.
Would you consider this an entry level cigar? Just a question.
I mean,
For price,
for
certainly.
price, yeah. I mean, if a Churchill is 10, I would think so for
But
sure.
but not for flavor wise.
Okay.
I think this is a little bit more. It's got spice. I mean, it's full flavored. It's got a lot of body. It's
Medium flavor for me.
medium.
Yeah.
Well, I
Yeah,
mean,
but
I
I-
remember having this from before, and it really builds and builds, and it gets strong. So
Whoever
in
stored-
that sense, I
honestly,
mean, like,
whoever-
not for
sorry.
a beginner.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's all I.
Whoever stored these, they're in great shape.
Yeah,
I think they're in good shape.
Senators had them now. What, about 3 weeks?
Yeah.
Something like that. 4 weeks. So
I think that has a lot to do with
Yeah.
how it's smoking right now.
yeah, I think pulling the humidity down on these is you need to.
Key.
You know why? Because this tower is not in the garage; it's inside the house.
Wait, it's not in a box?
Wait, yours is still in the box?
Oh, geez.
Is it?
Yeah, it is.
We're gonna do this every single week until you
Wow.
get that humidor.
Yes,
set
sir.
up
I
and
deserve
seasoned.
it. I deserve it.
What's the holdup?
I've just been too busy. I'm not even thinking about that thing.
Siri can't carry it up the stairs.
The funky thing is I've got some boxes coming now. I gotta get skiddy up time. Gotta get it done.
We have offered.
Yeah, but
help.
definitely an inch in, it does get into the cocoa. Yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah. It's
In a
definitely.
very good way.
Yeah, I agree.
It's
This is very surprising.
Dude, surprising.
I'll also say, I mean, I've had that Melanio. I like the way this starts more than I like the way the Melanio starts.
Well, more complex for sure.
This is
more
more complex.
and I actually get more barnyard in the Melanio.
Mm.
And this wrapper, it smelled a lot like barnyard.
Yeah.
But when you're smoking it, you're not getting that
That's
much.
right.
Where with
That's
the
right.
Melanio, I actually get that a lot on the light.
Yeah.
What's
you're-
also
you're right about
surprising is this, what I thought to be an awful spirit. It's drinking okay with ice. Honestly, it's not bad.
I don't think we need to talk about the spirit tonight.
We're gonna fucking go
So,
right into
you
it.
know, Gizmo, your intro was great, but should we have had a trigger warning to start this episode for you?
For
or-
me.
Senator,
for
do
me.
we have a sink primed up for this time?
that. Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about what it is first, and then you guys can grill me. So this is the Chivas
Well,
Regal.
you can try and direct the conversation in whatever direction you want to direct it, but it's only going one way.
So it's 18-year aged Chivas Regal.
Correction, it's Chivas. Yeah, not Remy. I said Remy.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, that's an edit.
Chivas Regal, 18-year.
18 year.
Delicious.
It's a legendary spirit in this group.
Can I ask a serious question?
You sure?
Is it bad? It's not bad.
What?
The Chivas is
No, it's very good.
Oh, the
No, it's
Chivas.
drinkable.
No, the Chivas is.
kind of drinking okay. Surprisingly.
Why would you say, is it bad? You should be saying,
Well,
how good is it?
Yeah, it's 18-year
I mean, it's
look at who's in the room.
Look,
Pagoda.
it's extremely smooth. It's extremely
I
smooth.
mean, it's a $70+ bottle.
That's
Yeah.
true.
I mean, the thing that this definitely, the age really helps because, I mean, Chivas 12 is not harsh, but it has some bite. This has totally mellowed any of that out.
The Chivas 12 is smoother than like Black Label,
Right.
right?
Oh yeah.
I mean, Black Label, from what I remember, like it has some edge to it.
There's edge.
Chivas
It
That's
is,
Oh, yeah.
where you
Chivas
need
is
a
smooth.
little bit of club soda.
Sploosh.
I also think, when you compare like Black Label, and that's 12 years, and Chivas 12, the Black Label has a lot more flavor than Chivas 12 does.
Yeah.
But I think the age with the Chivas 18, this has more flavor, more body to it, which I like a lot more because the 12 for me is just too, there's nothing interesting happening. This at least has some flavor.
Yeah, it does. It has flavor. It's almost too smooth.
I want to hear how he got wasted on this. Because I wasn't there. I wasn't at this place that this happened.
Cover your ears, Gizmo. Who
So-
wants to start?
so-
Are we going there?
Yeah.
Oh, we're going-
we're
we're
going.
going
Are we
there?
going there? We're
going
going
there?
there. We're
I'm pretty
going-
confident saying the only reason Puba picked up this bottle is to go there.
Yeah.
Now,
yeah.
I
So
gotta-
for the listener, buckle in.
I want to prime it for the listener. This was a legendary lizard night. I wasn't there.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I
missed
wasn't
that night.
either, actually.
You weren't there.
I wasn't there.
It was just me, Puba, Rooster, Puba, and Gizmo.
And shit fuck.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, dude. So this. so we're at the lounge we all met at. Really nice, elegant lounge, but it closes at what was it?
9:58.
What was it? Yeah, 9:58. And if you've been listening to the podcast, we go longer than that.
10 o'clock doesn't work for
9:58,
us.
10 o'clock doesn't really work for us, nor should it for most people. I mean, so the hours are not reasonable at this place. So we would look for alternatives. And one of the alternatives locally is this local Indian restaurant. And the owner, who we're friends with, happens to let us smoke cigars in there, which is fantastic. From time to time, not all the time, but late at night, nobody's in there, and we would crack the doors or whatever. And so we go in, and we didn't light any cigars yet. I don't even know if we smoked cigars that night, did we?
I don't think we did.
I don't think we did.
No.
So we walk in, and the owner of this Indian restaurant, great guy, dynamic guy, funny guy. He's got a full bottle of Chivas 18 on the table, and he's running his whole scene in there. He's running
Yeah.
his whole ecosystem. He's got an ecosystem that he runs, and
This is after the restaurant had closed,
Closed,
so it was
right.
him and this lady was sitting at the table.
They were meeting about
and
a
she
party.
was apparently there.
What was her name?
Since 6 p.m. We just know her as shit fuck.
right. So she got, we only call her shit fuck. So the owner of the restaurant's hanging out with this woman who we ended
Because she
up
called us shit fuck.
because she called us shit fucks. So basically we were talking about, she was talking about her kids, and she goes, I don't understand these kids. They talk back to me, and I'm like, you shit fuck, like that. And I'm like, wow, shit fuck. And she's like, shit fuck. I'm like, you're shit fuck. And she's like, you're shit fuck. And then I guess that's it. So we just started calling her shit fuck, and she didn't mind. She thought it was funny. And so now
It's a term of affection.
it's
She calls her
term
kids
of
shit fuck.
I'm like, come on, shit fuck, have another drink, because I'm like, I can't believe she's talking like this.
It was
her mouth and everything, and she was like, shit fuck, these shit fucks. I go shit fuck. So I kept calling her shit fuck. She thinks it's funny. Everybody is drinking, and we're drinking the Chivas Regal. So Gizmo is there, and Rooster's sitting to the right of me. Gizmo's sitting to the left of me, and we start drinking. And it's not an ask like I need a refill. The owner of the restaurant Mr. S, let's call him Mr. S. He just fills up your drink as you're moving along. You'll be like talking, and then you'll turn back and your drink, and then it's just full.
It's Indian hospitality.
It's Indian hospitality,
Yes.
precisely. So, long story short, I look over at Gizmo, and it's like as if someone threw water on the gremlin. You know what I mean? Like his like, he's twitching. Weird things are starting to happen. His eyes are going all kind of crazy. Like, and I'm like, what's up, Giz? And he's like, I gotta go do payroll. I gotta go.
What time was this? 2 a.m.
About midnight.
It's like fucking
yeah.
midnight, right?
Payroll at midnight.
He goes, I gotta go do.
We're like, you gotta do payroll now? He's like, yeah, I gotta deliver. I gotta do this. I gotta do that. I gotta do payroll. I'm like,
Gotta
well,
do payroll. I look at Rooster. He looks at me. He goes, fucking payroll. What the fuck is he doing? We're like talking about him in front of him. He doesn't even know what's going on. So, we're like, whatever. And he walks out to his vehicle, and we were wrapping up kind of anyway.
no, we thought he left. We were like, all right, he's got to do payroll. So he
Yeah, we
left.
let him go, which wasn't the most responsible thing as a friend. But anyway, he's an adult. He's got to take responsibility for his actions. He walked out the door, and we thought he had gone, and we're going back to our car, and I see
An hour later.
Next thing I know, I'm looking at this Volkswagen, and there he is. He's in the Volkswagen, and
the Arteon.
right, and I look inside, and he's asleep. He's completely unconscious, right? I go, Rooster, come here. You got to see this. I go, look inside. I go, Gizmo's fucking shot.
I wish you would have taken
He's
a photo.
fucking shot. And then Rooster says, he goes, is that vomit in the car? And I'm like, definitely, that's vomit in the car. The entire passenger side of the vehicle is covered in puke. So I knock on the door, wake him up, and I look at him and I go, he snaps right to, like nothing. Like he seems like he's totally straight. I said, hey, man, you should.
I'm done with payroll.
I don't think you should drive. And he goes, he goes, nothing to do. And I go, listen, man, you own a business. You can't do this. You're not driving anywhere. And he said, oh, you're right. And that was it. And then we just pulled him out of the car. Rooster drove him home. And that was it. For
Well, hold on. I heard he christened Rooster's.
Yeah.
The side of Rooster's
The
car.
color of his car changed, I heard.
Well, I just said, listen, man, I got to drive you home. He's like,
Yeah, he got in. Yeah.
he got in, and the whole way home we had the window down, and I think he must have
He
gone.
gave you a new paint
Give
job.
you a new paint job. This is humiliating, I know. But this is the
I knew it was
reality.
coming as soon as I saw
It's
Chivas
Chivas.
on the itinerary tonight. I was like,
Oh,
The only thing I
Party's
heard.
over.
The only thing I heard. I feel like Gizmo needs an attorney right now, so I'm just gonna play a fake one for the podcast's sake. I did remember Gizmo saying that he had told the owner he didn't want any more Chivas.
I was putting my
and
hand
I
over
heard
the glass.
that
He did.
that the owner was pouring the
Oh,
Chivas
yes, he
through
was.
his fingers
Yes.
into the glass.
oh, that's exactly what happened. Oh, and that's exactly what happened.
I was begging him to stop pouring, and I was covering the glass with my hand, and he was pouring through my hand.
Were
But
you
it-
drinking through a straw? I mean,
But I'd like to also put in context for the listener, please, just so everyone understands. One, Giz is not a big drinker at all. He's not a huge drink. Like he doesn't overindulge. But
For the record, also Gizmo didn't drink in college, which is the reason this happened.
That is true.
yes, that's true. And so he's vomited, but subsequently to that as well. But so he's a puker. Is what I'm trying to say is that I want to provide context in that he's a little bit of a puker.
You're really helping with the context.
Well, no, because I don't want to make it seem like you're that guy who's like constant, because you don't. Me, I drink. You kind of drink. He hit up Senator Sink one night.
Yeah, we
'cause
could
he
have.
claimed it on water. I mean, he's a
That was the
puker.
best one. That was the best one. So we had a legendary night at my place.
This is about 4 months after the Chivas
Yes.
incident.
Right.
in the
Which at the
vehicle.
time, Gizmo said, "Oh, it was just that night. I'm not a puker. This never happens to me."
This only happened to me at a Van Halen concert in like 1994, and you're like, okay.
So we have this great night at my place, and this was sort of when the had spread my love for caviar and rubbing caviar, champagne, cigars, all this
Sushi.
catered,
karaoke.
karaoke on
Oh,
my
yeah.
deck. I mean, it was a
wonderful.
whole thing.
It was a wonderful day.
It
Paul
was a great
Roger.
night. Paul Roger,
Saber.
Saber,
Yes.
everything. And fast forward, I noticed Gizmo. So part of the problem I noticed, everyone was pouring for themselves, and Gizmo was actually sitting right next to me that night. I'm looking at his glass, and it's like a Mr. S pour.
Dude,
I mean, he's just filling up
It was
his own
full.
glass.
Of what? I'm sorry, I missed it.
Of Macallan 12.
Macallan 12.
I still remember he had the
because
bottle
you
next
had the
to him
bottle
on the
next to him
floor,
next on the deck.
and he just kept filling. And I was like, "Ooh, boy, that's an aggressive pour."
Dude.
But I'm like, "All right, maybe he can,
one after another
maybe he
was
can
a
put
full
them back."
glass.
It was
a
full.
full fucking glass.
It was full.
I
Mugs.
Ubered that night.
And
I
then
Ubered that
he
night.
did. And then you fast forward, I noticed, I'm like, Giz has been in the bathroom for a long time. And I look like through the sliding glass door, and I see there's like a line to use my bathroom. And I'm like,
line.
okay, something's not right here. How long can it take to, take a piss? So I go inside. It's so funny. And I go inside and just open the bathroom, and Giz is just standing over the sink, and my sink met Gizmo in a way it never hoped to.
Wow.
There was God knows how much worth of caviar and sushi in the sink.
And also, I'd just like to say, like Senator's guest bathroom, it's very nice.
It's
It's a
pristine.
very nice sink. Like,
Pristine.
it's very, very nice. And it's like, this isn't like an American standard,
Oh no.
sink that your grandmother had. This is like a flat sink, not to be puked in and stuff. It's a fucking disaster.
It's a custom Duravit sink, modern, crisp, and
Yeah, it's
pristine.
like built into the wall
Oh
and
yeah.
shit. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's like, the real thing.
It was
It's like a fucking $11,000 sink or something.
At least.
You know what I mean?
At least.
And the best part is just Gizmo looks at me and he goes, it was the water. I was just trying to shovel water in my mouth, and that's how it happened. It was the water.
It was the water.
I'm
He
just
goes,
sitting there like, this is not the fucking water.
because this is so much water. And then we split up into, so now we're like SEAL Team Sixing them.
Yes.
We're like, okay, we've got to,
Because I'm trying to fix it.
We're going to
So
cut.
this is the worst part.
I
So
was trying to fix
Gizmo,
it.
who's usually Mr. Fix It, but in this state was
No.
doing the exact opposite. He's like trying to rip the drain. I'm like, Gizmo, just get out of the bath. No, I got it. I'm telling Rooster, I'm like, Rooster, just get him out of the bathroom so I can try to fix this. And I had to plunge the sink, and finally
There were
it worked.
chunks.
When okay, so you just gotta, for the listener, you have to have the visual of Senator, because he's not a real tool guy. I mean, he may do spring plantings or whatever he does, but he's not Bam. I mean, Bam can climb up the side of a fucking tree and
I could
like
do
chop a limb off or
I
like
could do that.
climb on somebody's roof.
Yes.
He could build a house.
He could build a fucking house, this guy. Now, you got Senator, he goes and he grabs his toolbox.
Yeah, I actually had to bring
this
a toolbox.
fucking toolbox, dude. It's like right off Amazon. None of the shit's been fucking used. I'm like, there's stuff with plastic on it and barcodes and shit still. I'm like, dude, what is this toolbox? It's like, yeah, I'm gonna have to really address this. Like, he was so serious because his wife was away and everything, and he's like, I can't have
Yeah,
this.
can you imagine? My
A
wife
plumber.
comes home and it's like, why is there sushi in our bathroom sink?
Oh,
And it
Clogged
won't
in the
be clogged
drain.
in the drain. I
It
mean, my
smells-
goodness.
Oh, it's
No.
unbelievable. And he's trying to use this toolbox. It was very funny. But
You'll have to give me credit. I fixed it.
you did
Yes, you
fix
did.
it.
Yes, he did.
So
Yes,
Giz
you did.
had like dislodged the stopper, which I had to reattach.
It's the only time in the time I've known Senator, we get along very well. It's the only time he's ever been irritated with me at a degree that I knew it was that night. It was that moment.
Yeah.
I remember him yelling. I remember very distinctly him yelling at Rooster, "Get Gizmo the hell out of here!
Yeah, out of the bathroom.
Get him out of the
Not the
bathroom."
house, just
no,
the
just out
bathroom.
of the bathroom. Yeah.
That wasn't easy.
So the moral of the story to the young listeners out there: do not overly hydrate while you're drinking.
Yeah, it's the water.
Yeah, don't do that.
Yeah,
It's
don't-
the water.
You
the
hydrate.
water.
You hydrate before or the morning after.
Not during.
No.
Oh, but we love you so much. And then genius producer, and we love you. But sometimes
Sometimes he malfunctions.
Well, listen, that was like
that's why you're Gizmo. I mean, it's
Yeah.
because if the wrong ingredients go in or you get exposed to certain things, you can have. Well, you have you have food vendettas too.
Vendettas.
Like he's got certain dietary vendettas. Like he won't eat dairy. Like it's a vendetta.
It's true.
You know,
I am. I'm
Yeah.
anti-dairy.
Anti-dairy.
Just 'cause
So
I don't
there's
like how it
certain
makes me
things-
feel. It's
that's
not
why
an
you're
emotional
Gizmo.
thing.
You can fix everything, and you're smart. And there's certain ingredients that if you mix with you,
He's
he explodes.
He's a gremlin.
Well, let's hope that three's not a charm, because those two were plenty for the roast tonight.
Yes.
The roast of Gizmo tonight. Holy moly, boys.
It is nice to see you able to drink Chivas again, because you swore you couldn't drink it again, but you're
It
being
is
a good
good.
sport today.
It is so good.
Right?
It's nice when I'm pouring it myself
Yes.
in a reasonable manner,
Yes.
as
Yeah,
opposed to
we know exactly how that ends. A gizmo pour is a term for a reason.
yes. Oh boy, what a night.
Uh,
Well, I'm very thankful that you guys recapped those stories for me. That was, and the listeners. Thank you guys so much.
well, we try to share, you know.
Sharing is caring. Oh man. All right, so we're about halfway through the Oliva V, boys. What do you guys think of this? I gotta say, not bad at all. Very
bad.
good. Very good.
Yeah.
For a $10 stick,
It's surprising.
I mean, it is very surprising.
I know that I'm smoking a little too quickly at this point.
Yeah,
Jesus
you're way further
Christ,
than we are.
Yeah, Bam. I mean, you're
Jesus.
He's
really.
loving it, please.
Yeah,
It's why he carries
Yeah,
that
same.
club and he walks around in like animal skin, you know,
Yeah.
like cat skin
Yes,
underwear,
That's right.
like Bam Bam,
I got leopard on tonight.
like leopard skin togas. and
Please,
shit.
please.
I'll take you in the back room and show you later.
Rooster's at the same point, and he usually is the slowest.
What is
he-
happening?
yeah,
How are you guys smoking through this so fast?
I don't know.
Isn't
Just-
it too hot?
I'm not
Can't-
talking as much.
Can't wait this to be over. I guess.
No. No. It's not that-
no, it's
not
good.
that
It's
bad.
good. No, it's pretty good.
Yeah.
I feel like the flavor's pretty much the same for me.
Yeah.
It's picked up a little bit in strength,
Yeah.
but I feel like it's very similar
Consistent.
to what it was.
Consistent.
You know, what's interesting is I was just reading a little bit about it earlier, and at some point, these were very hard to get cigars. Like,
Really?
yeah, the demand for these was way off the charts.
We know who's responsible for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do.
I mean, at the previous lounge, they always had them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No one else smoked them.
Yeah, he would smoke what?
He's
He'd
the only
smoke-
one.
He smoked what? 2.5 boxes a month?
But
Two,
you know,
two a
it-
day, right?
You know, it's really odd that this is what he would smoke every single day.
Yeah, twice.
Two
Yeah.
every day. I mean,
Yep.
how could you do that? I mean,
I mean,
And
even
sometimes more, because sometimes he would say he had like a morning cigar
Right.
on his porch, and
but
it
this
had
is
to
the
be
only stick that he would smoke.
Yeah.
yeah,
I could never picture myself smoking the same stick. I don't care what stick it is.
even if it's a cigar you love.
Yeah.
Yeah, true.
Yeah, some people though, it's like to each his own.
Yeah,
true.
I guess.
A
but-
friend of mine who's kind of like getting into cigars he's asking me all these questions. You know, he's saying, "Oh, what about this? What about that? What about this? What about that?" I said, "You know, you just got to try." And I know I'm going to caveat. I was very like judgmental and being like a douche at the beginning of the podcast with the cigar, but it is a journey, and you do really need to like just. It doesn't matter really what you smoke. I mean, if you like smoking something and you like it, that's really great. Like, and if that's what turns your crank, you know,
Yeah.
more power to you.
Yep.
You know, if you're enjoying yourself and you're relaxing,
If that's what
You know
pulls your
what?
pants down, you're good.
if that, yeah, I mean, for you, that's what's required. Get that tension out. You know, you need the tension release. We know that you need that often, but.
Well,
if
to your
this
point-
is what it is. Go, you know, if this is what does it for you, I respect that. That's
I mean,
fine
listen,
with me.
if this suits your flavor profile and for $10, I mean, it's a win-win.
Yeah, you
You cannot
ahead.
knock it
Yeah.
at that price. You just
No,
can't.
just the thing I'm most encouraged about is the flavor profile of it has notes that we do like in New World cigars.
Very true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very
I'm
true.
getting that cocoa. There's a little bit of spice.
Yeah.
The delivery of it is not aggressive. It's not like strong on nicotine
It's
or
smooth.
it's not bad.
I mean, is it better than? I'm going to go here. Is it smoking better than that the Opus Tar Bomb?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah,
I
it
mean,
is.
which is kind of funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, if you had to choose between really those
At,
two
at 4 times the
cigars,
price.
at
Yeah,
4
that's
times
right.
The price.
$42.
4 times the price.
You know,
That's a good point, Bam.
No, there's some merit in a cigar like this at this price
Absolutely.
point.
Well, I mean, to Poopa's point earlier, I know we were busting balls, and obviously we have a history with this as we've detailed, but you know, with folks that we know that smoke this exclusively, and we laughed about it. But to me, it's like, again, going back to the benefit of this podcast for us in the room, none of us would have ever picked up this cigar because of the history that we've had with it. And
Preconceived notions.
yeah, and I mean, it's a lesson for all of us, right? I mean, you said this earlier. I mean, it's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
It's developed into something pretty good. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad Gizmo brought up the Pledge prequel earlier because that was Cigar of the Year recently.
Yeah,
And so far, I would absolutely smoke this over that.
I totally agree.
No
Any
doubt.
day.
Now the El Senador, no way. I think
That was awesome.
El
That's-
Senador is a
that's-
great
yeah.
cigar.
Agreed.
Like I'm halfway through and it's actually. I'm going to eat my words because I was being such a dick at the beginning of the show. You know, it's come around pretty
Yeah.
good.
I agree.
It's come around pretty good. I'm not going to lie.
I mean, the Milanio was actually rated pretty high on the cigar.
I like this
aficionado
better
back
than the
in the day.
Millennium.
I like this better than the Milanio. I
Yeah.
really do. I just think like the Milanio is milder than this,
Mm-hmm.
and the flavor notes. I don't get a ton of cocoa in that cigar. I get much more barnyard, and in this, I get a lot more cocoa.
There's a lot of cocoa here.
Which is a flavor that like I chase in New World cigars. That's
Yeah.
why we love Padron and some other, and even the El Senador. There was lots of cocoa
oh
in
yes.
that. So this is much more suited to my palate than the Milanio
Yep.
is.
And I think worth picking up for a lot of the listeners that are looking to try a cigar. I think it's very worthy.
It almost it doesn't taste like an exclusivo, but like it has that Nicaraguan
It does.
flavor to it. So like it has those underpinnings that are a little bit adjacent. Like you can kind of
Right.
taste the Patron Exclusivo in the very, very, very background of the thing. Distant, but
That's a great way of putting it.
but there. You know, so like as it builds in this long, big, huge Vitola,
Yeah.
it kind of builds into something at the halfway point that's, you know, more of I think what you'd want it to be at the light.
I think
Right.
the Liga line is
I was going to
a
go
little
there.
bit better than
It's better than
flavor wise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
I would agree 100%.
I think hands down. Yeah.
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 Also, the league is more expensive, right?
I was gonna
Yeah.
say for $10.
Right.
Yeah. I mean,
You're getting a
Liga-
Papas Fritas for $10.
Factoring that in. Yeah.
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 The little one.
So the other interesting thing when I was reading about it, this cigar, Oliva, started in the 1800s, and obviously it's gone through a lot of problems. I haven't read a lot in detail, but you know, I think this cigar was made in 2007, and in 2000s, and the ownership, the son took it over. He went to Spain, he came back, and he started a factory, and these guys were producing over 6 million cigars at some point.
Yeah.
Like this is
Well, they sell a ton of cigars, these guys.
yeah. So it's interesting that it does have a huge following.
Yeah. And like I said, this cigar, I think out of the emails and messages we've gotten, the Oliva, not specific
Right.
specific Vitola, but we've gotten so many requests to review Oliva.
Yeah.
And I can see why.
There's an
Wow,
interesting
thi-
thing. Sorry, go ahead.
Pagoda is 100% right. I was just fascinated, so I had to look some of this up. And it does say, as Pagoda was mentioning, that Oliva traces its history back to the tobacco fields of Cuba, where Milanio Oliva, so that's where Milanio comes from, that was his first name, started growing tobacco in the 1800s, like you said. And it says his grandson, Gilberto, became a tobacco broker and eventually left Cuba for Spain and then later settled in Central America, where now obviously they operate. I never knew the history of Oliva dated back that far. That's actually impressive.
It is. Yeah. And I am smoking
Oh.
this very fast. And
So-
what's interesting is, usually if you smoke a cigar too fast, you get a lot of ammonia and it gets bitter. I don't get that here.
Another fun
Yeah,
fact
go ahead.
on the Cuba piece. Milanio Oliva first grew tobacco in Pinar del Rio, Cuba in 1886.
Wow.
His growing operations were suspended when he fought in Cuba's War of Independence.
Wow, that's cool.
Wow.
Very cool history.
Very cool.
And it's amazing that so many of these of these cigar brands have ended up in Nicaragua.
Yeah.
Like you
Obviously
said,
Davidoff and
yeah.
Fuente have ended up in Dominican, but Padron, Oliva, Some of the others have ended up in Nicaragua. I mean, this is
Yeah.
a really nice Nicaraguan
It
cigar.
it tastes like It tastes like a Nicaraguan cigar.
does.
and it actually the delivery has been more mellow than you would expect.
Yeah, especially down where we are now. You know,
But it's typical of Nicaraguan cigars to be like full flavored and full bodied, and that's what you get out of this.
The one more subtle observation, the finish is short.
it is.
Um,
And that's nice, actually.
yeah,
Yeah.
maybe it's nice how the flavor sets up for it, but it doesn't seem to.
It doesn't
and
stick around much.
right? So this could be a merit, or it could be it could be a merit in the cigar, or it could be a detriment. Is that it's a little bit one dimensional? But again,
It's true.
if you really like this, then that could be a virtue in the smoke.
Yeah.
It just depends on what your palate is. It's kind of delivering to me, I think, the same kind of flavor throughout. It just builds in a little bit of strength as it moves along. But other than that, it's pretty kind of
Consistent.
pretty consistent in how it tastes. And that could be a merit, or it could be
And surprisingly, not harsh at all.
No.
not
No.
getting that kind of tar.
No.
Like
Nothing.
there's
It's-
nothing really unpleasant about it.
Right.
It just doesn't deliver as complex of a finish. Like when you smoke a Padron, not that it's fair to compare the two maybe necessarily, but the finish is longer. The flavor and the palate just it lingers, and there's a complexity there. But
It's
this
not-
is a
not
pleasant
bad.
smoke.
Yeah.
This is a pleasant smoke.
Yeah.
I mean,
The other thing I think I have to give this credit for, the construction's actually very good.
yeah.
I mean,
it is.
a lot of Churchills are not easy cigars to make. And, we've talked about of Cuban Churchills, right? The Romeo and Juliet Churchill. We've had nightmare experiences with the construction of that
And the,
cigar.
the draw.
This has been burning evenly. The draw's great. I mean, I don't think I'm looking at everyone's cigar. I don't see any uneven burns or anything that's really been
I haven't
big
touched
problem.
mine up.
The
once.
ring gauge
Yeah.
is significantly bigger though. on
Oh,
this.
totally. Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, it's
yeah.
a Churchill Extra, right?
It's a 52x7. Yeah.
Mm.
So not as I mean, the Churchill is harder to roll well. Traditional Churchill, which can lead to all those issues you're talking about, the draw issues, right? I mean, but
Even the wrapper on this looks very good.
It's very nice.
Yeah.
It's excellent. Yeah.
no. There's like the seams are tight,
Yeah.
They are.
basically invisible,
Yep.
and that's that's a virtue. The combustion's really good. The burn has been great. The
We didn't
taste is just a little bit maybe one dimensional, but maybe that's a good thing.
We didn't
Yeah.
mention the draw. There in mine anyway. There's just a slight bit of resistance that we've talked about on episodes past. That is definitely helping the cigar.
It's a
for me.
good thing.
For sure.
You know,
Agreed.
It's a
it's
good
just a
thing.
touch of resistance.
But really, actually, the perfect amount. And in
Exactly.
terms of the performance of the smoke, excellent.
Yes.
And not overpowering in terms of smoke output.
No.
Yeah.
It
It's
doesn't
Opposed to
light
one
up
of the
like the
Ligas.
Liga.
Yes,
Like the
the
Liga
Liga
nine.
was
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
couldn't see each other.
Yeah.
I mean, the Ligas were really like, what was that, the T9?
No,
Liga nine.
number
The
nine.
Liga
Yeah.
9 or whatever
Yeah.
it's called. Yeah. That thing, we lit those up. It was like, whoa.
That was
Call the
so-
fire
That
department.
was so good, though. So good.
Yeah. So the Chivas 18. Smooth.
Going down nice.
Going down very nice.
Yeah.
I mean, if I was on an airplane,
Is it worth the price?
No.
I don't think it's worth $80.
No.
72 plus tax in New Jersey. Other places it'll run shit, $89 in Florida or
Yeah.
something like that. You
But
know
on
what
the
I
other
mean?
hand, it's drinking so well right now.
It's pleasant. I mean,
very.
like,
It's crazy.
my dad who's 78 years old and just wants a smooth scotch and to watch the US Open, you know what I mean? And just wants to sit there and you're not smoking a cigar. You're just relaxing and you're
Yeah.
going to have one or two. It's definitely, it's so drinkable and approachable. I think for there's an audience for it.
Absolutely.
Agreed.
It's
Yeah.
like, I don't need smoke. I don't want that.
Yeah.
I just want to like relax with my life and just be okay. And So
Yeah,
I
if you're
could
looking for
see
something
it-
different, because of the price point, I think what makes it interesting is if you're a single malt, if you prefer single malts, I think there's a lot of really good options which are slightly better, I would think, and so it becomes a difficult thing to pull up just to pour like for when it comes to me. So yeah,
Well, yeah, I mean, I think that's where when Puba says, there's an audience for it, and I agree with what you're saying, Pagoda. If you're someone who
if you're
is
looking for
really-
a smooth experience,
Yeah, well, I think some scotches are very smooth. I think it's more, a lot of single malts are very flavorful and very complex. And I think if you're just looking for something that's smooth, that isn't taking you in a bunch of directions, it's going to be
Yeah.
pretty straightforward, it's
Yeah.
not going to disappoint,
Yeah.
not going to surprise you in any way.
right?
Like this is kind of an old steady friend.
It's funny you say that
Right.
because
That's exactly right. I think
Yeah.
it's a great way to describe
Yeah.
it.
but you could also
It's
describe
really pleasurable. I mean, like there's zero anything that's not good about it.
Everything-
It's just if you're looking for a complex experience, this is not going to give you that, but it's giving you this blended Scotch smooth delivery, and sometimes people want to just put on a little Sade.
where the hell did that come
some
from?
Genesis or some shit. You know what I mean? And just chill. I mean, that's
Smooth operator.
You're smooth operator. Bang, smooth, and that's all you want.
It's funny.
You know what I mean? Like, there's
everything-
definitely a place where if I had this in my bar, I'd pour it.
and they're pairing well.
Yeah, well, I was
the
about to
two are
go there.
pairing well.
Everything you're saying about the Chivas, you can say the exact same thing about this cigar. There's an audience for it. There's no rough edges. There's nothing that you could say that
No.
makes it a terrible cigar.
But the
Really.
accessibility of this cigar at $10
It's incredible.
versus that $80,
And always available.
That's true.
This
That's
is
true.
ironically.
That's true.
This is ironically turning into an interesting pairing because we have a very
Yes, it
The
is.
cigar is smooth and kind of straightforward, and the Scotch is kind of smooth and straightforward.
Yeah.
which
Great pairing. It
is
works.
funny.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's
So they make this
I
cigar.
think Puba's left speechless here.
I think so.
He's like, I can't believe-
He's got no negative comments. It's
I
amazing.
know.
It's a miracle.
It's a
It's a
miracle.
miracle.
And you know what? I think I would have lost a lot of
Listen.
money today because I said I would have thought Puba would
I
have
would've
asked
take-
this in the
I would have
first 10
taken that
minutes.
action
No.
all day and lost.
No. I thought I was going to ditch this cigar.
Yeah, we
in
almost
the
had a side
ashtray.
bet that you would do that,
and
by the way.
and I didn't do it. And I'm not going to do it. I'm going to smoke the whole thing. It's
Yeah.
really good.
It's
Yeah.
pretty good.
Pretty good.
They make this in a Robusto, right?
They do. Yeah.
Yeah, this is helpful because when you have friends come over who don't really appreciate cigars that much, but they just kind of want to have a cigar
Yeah.
to do what the group's doing. It's always very hard to find cigars for those occasions when you don't want to just burn through great sticks that you really appreciate that someone can't. And I've tried doing that with the Melanio, and it has failed.
Really?
Part of it's on me. I think I gave out a bunch of exclusivos.
Oh.
And then everyone had a second exclusivo. And
Oh,
then
boy.
guys who I know just don't care about cigars. I'm like, all right, this is silly to just keep burning through these. So let me just reach for something I have for, sometimes guests that don't particularly love cigars. So I had pulled out a little 10 count box of these Melanios. And I'll never forget, one of my friends, he lights this up and he goes, Senator, this isn't as good as the cigars you were giving us before. I was like, shit, it's not as good. But I just
trained them
I
well.
didn't think that they would know the difference. But I feel like if I got this in Robusto, the regular V instead of the Melanio, this would be more satisfying for someone who is just looking for a casual everyday smoke.
Yeah, in Robusto, for sure, it would be.
The Churchill's intimidating.
Oh yeah, no,
Yeah.
this is too much.
It is, but it worked out okay.
For us, yes.
Yeah, and I think you talk about a yard cigar, and if you're going to be literally out in the yard like doing a lot of work, you're going to spend like 2 hours out there.
Yeah.
Like this Churchill would slot in there.
This is
And
also
it
a great
stays
golf. This is a
burning.
great golf course
does.
cigar as well. This
None
guy.
of the six of us have picked up a lighter to relight
Yeah.
this thing.
It's
So let me just run through. You asked about the Robusto. I'll run through the other Vitolas that this line has. And for the listener, this is specific to the Oliva V. What we're smoking right now, not the Melanio, just the Oliva V. They have the Churchill Extra that we're smoking right now. They have a Lancero. They have a Figurado. They have a double Toro. They have a Torpedo, a Bellicoso, a double Robusto, and a number 4. So
Did you say double Toro?
double Toro,
I
your
had a
favorite.
double Toro.
Yeah, in fact, this is the only brand that makes a double Toro.
That's right.
A
Bam
Vitola
Bam.
that Bam thought was
Bam
ubiquitous everywhere.
No. I am vindicated. There is a double Toro.
It is.
It exists.
What is
What's
it?
the
What
size
are the
of a
dimensions?
double-
60 ring gauge by 6 inches is the double Toro. Poof.
It's like smoking a brick.
I'll be honest. The experience we're having tonight makes me want to try the
Horsecock.
Lancero. The Lancero, 38 by 7. I want to.
It's funny you mentioned Lancero. A few of us have tried it.
Yeah.
So we did a Lancero night at our former lounge. This might have been before Gizmo had joined the lounge.
Yes,
It
I
definitely
remember
was.
that night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was me, Bam, Rooster, and Pooba. I
The
think,
Lancero was good.
Grinder.
and Grinder.
Yeah.
And it came in second.
Yep.
I think the first one was a Liga or a Drew Estates Lancero. That
The
was number
Halali,
one.
Esteli.
That didn't
That
do
was
as
the
well.
least.
No,
That
that was
was
the
the
least.
least.
Yeah,
That was the least.
yeah, I didn't like that. But this came in second.
Yeah, and I'm interested to try the double Robusto as well.
And to clarify, this was a New World Lancero night. We were not including Cuban Lanceros.
I'm looking at the
You could have
Oliva-
got killed for that.
I'm looking at the Oliva site here. A lot of these have some pretty high ratings from Cigar Journal, Cigar Snob, and Cigar Aficionado. So seems like like I said, very popular line.
Yeah.
A lot of folks are smoking these.
Looking forward to the rating here tonight. On this.
Yeah, I'm very
Yeah.
curious what it's going to be.
Oh yeah.
No question about it. So I got to ask you guys because we haven't talked about it yet. I'm not a golf guy, but I'm really fascinated by the business aspect of and the social aspect of this new golf league, the LIV
Yeah.
League, started by the Saudi Arabians, that Phil Mickelson, Dustin Johnson, and a few other folks have migrated to.
Bryson.
And Bryson as well. I'm
Yep.
curious what you guys think of this. I mean, I saw a quote from Charles Barkley. He's obviously someone that's very vocally supporting this, but it's almost as if somebody created another NBA or another
Yeah.
NHL league to compete
Well,
with the primary league.
from
It's
the
very
point of view
interesting.
of payments, it's a super league
Yeah,
financially,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, I don't know about this idea about super leagues because they've tried to do this even in soccer in Europe and with all the top teams getting together and they're paying a lot of money. It's going to be interesting to see how sustainable they are because at the end of the day, even the Saudis are doing this as a form of investment, and if there's no ROI in the long term, I think it's unsustainable.
Honestly, I think they do a lot of things from the point of view of notoriety. They want to bring credibility to their country, and a lot of their actions are based in my opinion, in that realm of thought.
I'll say this, and I think I'll be quick on this, and I'm especially curious. Some of the guys who like golf and are even deeper in golf than I am as just a fan. When this started, I had a very negative reaction to this. I mean, I just thought like you have a sport, and your job is to protect and grow that sport, right? So like if you play on the PGA Tour, like that is an American-run entity, right? And if you're a member, if you're on the PGA Tour, right, like you've bought into that, right? And so if there's a problem with it, you fix it, you try to do that, and you try to improve or grow that sport. And I, especially, a Saudi-run league that obviously from a foreign policy standpoint, we don't have the best relations with the Saudis, and I won't get into a political discussion, but that fact just remains. So I had a hard time understanding how you would have a number of these players, and especially American players, say, well, screw this league that I've invested so much in and that has invested so much in me, and now I'm just going to go run off into this clearly well-financed league, but I almost question like the motives really behind it. Like, I'm not sure that this was created for the love of the sport and to be this amazing thing. Like, I kind of lean more in Bam's camp. But what I will say, where I criticized in my mind players who would go run to that, and I really respected the players that said, I'm sorry, I want no part of that. Let's fix what we have, what we've been part of, what we've committed to. Where I've started to change my perspective a bit, and I think there have been a number of pundits and people on TV who have really poked at from a player standpoint of how could you turn down, if someone's willing to pay you $150 million to play golf, how as a player can you turn that down? And why I'm more sympathetic to that is when you break down the reality of just sports generally. This is entertainment. Obviously, all these athletes, they love their sports, but they would not be choosing this as a career if it didn't pay well. This is to support them and their families. At the end of the day, same reason all of us go to work every day. Right?
Sure.
Some of us may love what we do, but if we weren't paid, well enough for it, it wouldn't be worth our time. And so, as I've started to think of it through that lens, I'm now less critical of the players that have decided to make that jump. And it kind of then begs the question, well, if the PGA Tour wants to keep those players, then like find a way to pay up. Like you have to compete.
You have to
That's
compete.
right. That's right.
And as somebody who is, I've played golf for most of the majority of my life, and grew up in that environment, and still I'm an avid golfer to this day, and I really enjoy the game. I think you articulated. I agree with everything you said. I felt the same way at first, but then when you look at the type of money that's being presented, it's really hard to justify. It's like, there's this level of hypocrisy that's out there in terms of we're all using iPhones.
Yep.
And all those iPhones are made essentially via slave labor, and we're going to Saudi Arabia for oil and all this other stuff. And when these types of numbers are put in front of people, $150 million, $100 million guaranteed money. It's really hard to say no because it's in the context of the global stage, because there is you can't divorce the fact that this is Saudi Arabia that's standing this up. You can't divorce that fact. So there is this ethical concern, I think, that comes into play that you can't really which creates all this tension. This is really at the core of it, in combination with the fact that they're also defecting. They're defecting.
Yeah.
So there's this thing where you're like, I don't like that aspect of it, but at the same time, this is a lot of escarole, as they say in New Jersey. This is a lot of money, and it's like everyone else is capitalizing on this. And yes, the PGA Tour needs to make some revise how they're helping players out, particularly players that they ride their reputation on, like Phil Mickelson and these legends, and that there should be some maybe additional compensation from the tour or et cetera. So there's a lot of players like the Sergio Garcias and people like that who are like, dude, how can I say no to this? So, and I get that, because at first I felt the same way that Senator felt, but now I'm kind of saying, we're going to now go to them and get all our oil, and we have all the hypocrisy that exists. It's hard for me to say, hey, Phil Mickelson, you shouldn't do that for $150 million and just go hit a golf ball.
And he got 200 million.
Did he get 200? Is that what it is now?
That's right.
Yeah. I mean, that's he's not making $200 million any other way. So that's a lot of money. And it's a rounding error on the Saudis' P&L. And this is a rounding error. This is a tiny little. So it's hard for me now. As much as I don't like it, the idea of it, I don't fault the players for taking the money. It's a lot of money. It's too much money to refuse.
Agreed.
Basically,
And picking up on the last thing you said there, as much as I don't like it, I mean, I'm still in the camp where I don't like this happening, because I don't think this helps golf. I really fundamentally don't.
No.
Right. If the whole premise of the PGA Tour is to be this American run thing that they've built and grown over time and are seeking to grow for the future, this completely erodes and threatens that. So I don't think that's helpful to the sport. The same way in anything, that's why there was the uproar that Pagoda was talking about in soccer. If you go create this super league, it erodes everything that everyone has known, supported, and bought into for decades. and that could all just be gone. And so I still give a ton of credit to the players that do hold out. And now what's you have to unpack there is, for some, they're able financially to do that, right? Like if you're Tiger Woods, it's like remarkable that they could offer him almost any amount of money. He just doesn't need it.
And they did.
And they did.
Apparently they offered him close to $1 billion.
$1 billion. And he's like, I'm already a billionaire.
Yeah.
Like I don't actually need this money. So like I respect, now he could be so money driven that he could just say, well, I need the second $1 billion. And so sure, I'm just going to go right ahead. And I think you have to give credit where credit's due to any of the players who are saying, I feel in a position financially that I don't have to just chase that money.
up.
Yeah.
It's hard to, but that's why I do give credit to the guys that do the same way that, in anyone's lifetime, right? You're going to have different career opportunities that'll present itself. And some of them may be more lucrative than others. And at some point you either say that, that money's worth chasing, or that, you're really bought into this thing you're doing, you're working on your building, and, more money isn't going to make you feel any
But
happier.
like Bryson DeChambeau, like his body's not going to hold up the way he swings the golf, with the way he swings the golf club. He will win. He can maybe win another 5 years, but he's done. He can't swing and maintain his style of play,
That power,
long term.
power.
Like his style, he'll have to completely change it up. I mean, he doesn't swing like a Louis Oosthuizen. Yeah. Like even though he's going to, I believe, to LIV. Yes, he's going to LIV. He's on the list, but he's got one of the best swings ever. But he also hasn't been able to win. He's come so close.
Yes.
He hasn't been able to win and convert those majors. And it's like to get that prestige. So I understand with a guy like Louis can play forever. Louis can go and his swings like it's so smooth and fluid, and like his body will last forever. Bryson DeChambeau, like if you're him, you have to take that money because his body he's already injured because of the way he swings.
That's a good point.
His body's going to break down. You take the money and you go. And Phil Mickelson's a money guy.
Yeah.
He's always been a money guy, kind of a gambler, kind of a
We know that.
like a fast shooting. He plays fast, a little fast and loose in his life, like money wise.
He's also older.
And he's older.
Yeah.
I mean, this is it for him. I mean, you get a freaking $200 million. Hey, I'm in.
But a guy,
So I don't blame him for doing it. Do I like the idea of it? Definitely not. The way the majors and the if they're going to be able to get exemptions for these tournaments that they've previously won and things like that, like how they work the exemptions and how if these guys are going to be able to qualify, they're out of the FedEx Cup. They've been taken out of the FedEx Cup race. So how are they going to, so it's complicated, but they've made these decisions. Do you want to win majors and do you want to be included in these tournaments or not? And what that's going to look like moving forward, who knows? And how long this league's going to live, who knows? But
Here's a
dude,
question.
9 figures is 9 figures.
It's going to have a huge impact on the PGA.
But that's where my next question is going. So anything that's a disruptor in any industry, doesn't it force that industry to get better, react, and
You'd hope.
adapt?
you would hope.
And if guys are leaving and going to this new league, doesn't that open the door for younger PGA budding stars to come up and have an opportunity
It's
to
a
play?
small percentage. Those players, it's so hard to just earn a card.
I know.
So those players are still going to have to work their way up to the Korn Ferry Tour, and they're still going to have to earn their way on to the PGA Tour,
Yeah.
and that's just the way
But-
it's always going to be.
it could
But to your,
change. It
but
could
to your
change
point, though,
something.
Bam, there's two aspects of this that I think need to be pointed out. Number one, I think a lot of the guys that left, maybe save for someone like Dustin Johnson. A lot of these guys are not competing every week, winning
No, they're not.
the event that they're competing in. They're there. Obviously, they're drawing eyes. Even Tiger Woods. I mean, what a remarkable comeback he's had again after that car accident. But he's not competing each week for winning that event. Again, save for Dustin Johnson. Now, Tiger is someone who, outside of golf, via his sponsorships and who he is probably arguably the most recognizable person in sports, other than maybe Michael Jordan or LeBron James or Cristiano Ronaldo. I mean, he's got an incredible business outside of golf that he can't risk even for $1 billion to go to
No.
live golf.
No,
He can't do it. Now, you look at guys like Scotty Scheffler, Rory McIlroy, Justin Thomas. They're all staying because each week they're still competing and they're still winning. So there is an element of the PGA is really losing their marketing assets, but they're not really losing the people who are competing each week to win the tournaments.
Yeah, but if you're going to lose the top names,
That's
what is that going to do to the
well, that's the
advertising
question.
dollars,
That's the
right?
question.
Totally.
And I think that a
So-
lot of the guys that have stayed in the PGA, even with offers, they're staying because they can still really win and be
Yeah, but
top
yet
of the
there's
world.
so many young players that are still going to come up and they're still going to make things electric. And you can't duplicate what happens at Augusta on LIV. You can't duplicate you can't duplicate the electricity of the U.S. Open, even though U.S. Open isn't it's governed by the USGA and the rules it's an open tournament, which means an amateur can qualify. In theory, I could go out, play regionals, play in the Met-Am, play and matriculate through all the fucking tournaments with inside of fucking 2 years
And get
and
in.
make it to the fucking U.S. Open
Yeah.
if I played well enough.
But this is why everything you're saying is why I emphasize, like, I feel strongly, I don't blame the players that have left, but I don't give them credit in the sense that, like, you look at some of the old timers, right? Like some of the legends in golf from a different generation, and a lot of them are really, really opposed to this whole idea. And I think that there's something to be said for that in the sense that, you look at in sports just generally, like you have athletes who have opportunities to become the highest paid player ever at their position, whether we're talking football, basketball, any sport period. And some of them just don't take it because they want to win. Like there's something bigger about what they're doing than how much they're paid. They're saying like, I'm already making $100 million. Is 125 or 150 really going to materially make me any happier than I am now, or give me something that I already don't have? And so I do have to give credit to the players that make that calculus and say, and it's easier for some than others. There's no doubt. That's why I said Tiger's in a whole other category where when you're a billionaire, you can, money almost doesn't matter at that point. But for the ones that are not in Tiger's, financial category, I do give them credit where clearly for some of them, there has to be a calculus of I play this sport to play in Augusta every spring.
Yeah.
That's what
And-
makes me tick.
And there's tradition
And,
there.
and the
I respect
endorsements.
that.
And by the way, the endorsements, just to close this, I mean, the endorsements, Phil Mickelson lost his endorsement deal. Phil Mickelson. So you're going into this, but you're dropping your partners.
Yep.
The partners are dropping you. And that's a big deal because the long-term partnerships that you can make with Titleist, with Callaway, with TaylorMade, with Nike, with these types of companies, with the banks and all the other corporate sponsors are relationships that can be actually really, really long and really, really enduring for the mid-range to upper mid-range tour player who's constantly, in the hunt. They want their logos out there. They want their stuff. So for those guys, it's like, yeah, you're good. Yeah, you could get stolen and put into the LIV, but what are the consequences going to be for me? You can play golf until you're on the Champions Tour. You can play golf. I mean, Bernard Langer played golf for, how many years in the champ? You can play if your body holds up. So long term, is it the best thing? And if you love the game, tough decisions. But when you get 9 figures thrown out, like somebody throws $100 million at somebody, and you're like 35, you go, well,
I'm in.
Yeah, it's hard to turn it down.
Yeah.
Hard to turn it down.
would they be excluded from all the PGA tournaments? Like
we don't know what's going to
We don't know yet.
manifest. Like it could be. It sounds like it will be. It depends on what happens. I mean, who knows how long this whole thing will even hold up? It hasn't even kind of materialized into something big yet.
I mean, it's tough is if you're the PGA Tour, you kind of have to do that, right? Like you have to create a consequence that is significant enough that makes people think twice about leaving, right? If there's no material consequence, then there's no reason not to go take
And
that
the
$100 million.
sponsors are just, they're
Yeah.
going to not play ball. What do the sponsors have to gain by sponsoring you on the Saudi? They have nothing to gain.
Yeah.
but they'll probably get new sponsors,
Yeah.
right?
Or they may come back, if the viewership is there.
Who needs sponsors when you got 9 figures?
That's a good point.
Yep.
All right, boys, what do you guys think of the Chivas Regal 18 right now? I think it's working really well
It's
with the
still
cigar.
drinking very good.
Yeah.
It's very
Really, really
efficacious.
good.
I'll tell you
Surprising.
that.
Yeah. Both
Both are surprising.
both have been surprising
Yeah.
tonight. Are you guys ready to do the formal liquor rating on this thing?
Yep.
Bam Bam, you're up.
I'm between a 7 and an 8 on this.
Okay.
I'm going to give it an 8.
Okay.
An
Pagoda.
8.
8.
I'm in the same boat for a blended Scotch. 8.
I'm going to give it a 7.
I'm going to give it an 8. I really liked it, and I think that it's pretty approachable, drinkable. A little bit of cinnamon. It's a little bit sweet. It's really good in the finish, and I like it.
Composite Lizard score, boys, 7.8.
That's a good score.
Good, very good score.
Yeah.
I think for me, the reason why I just, I pulled it down
Memories?
to a
Is it
7.
memories?
Yeah, I wonder why.
The roast didn't help, but also the price point. I think the price point, I compare it to any other blended Scotch
Yeah.
that I drink or like. I just think it's a little pricey
That's
for
a
what
good
it is.
point. Fair point. Yeah.
So, what other blended Scotch do you?
Well, you look at.
Prefer.
I love the Kirkland.
This
Kirkland's
is
good.
better than that.
The Kirkland, but it is better than that. But
This
I
is
can get that
tastier
for
than that.
$17
Way
a bottle.
tastier.
But I can get it for $17 a bottle. So
Sure.
yeah, I mean, come on. It is. Don't give me that look, Pooba.
No, I hear you. It's a little
We're
bit
talking
better.
about a $60 swing.
Yeah, true.
So, and speaking of budget, this $10 Churchill Extra has really surprised me tonight.
Yeah, I'm down to an inch,
Yeah.
not a single rough edge on it.
Yeah, I'm coming down to the end here.
Yeah.
It's been very, very good and very, very smooth. I'm
Yeah, I
surprised.
enjoyed it.
Please.
I'm taking back what I said. I actually enjoyed it.
Yeah.
We can sense your delight.
I did. I enjoyed it.
It was very, very surprising.
good. Surprisingly better than I expected.
You guys ready to do the formal lizard rating on this
would
thing?
it make me buy a box of these?
No.
No, right? Of
course not.
So,
No,
Yeah.
But I
So-
would have a couple of these in my humidor, maybe.
I'm
Yeah,
not
like
gonna-
I said when we started, I mean, for me, the utility of these sticks is like if I go into a retailer in a pinch and I just, have to buy something there and I just really want a cigar, like I would have this and not leave at all upset or disappointed.
Yeah.
yeah.
All right, Rooster, you're up.
All right. So for me, I mean, it's not in my flavor profile. I'm not gonna source the, box of this or whatever. But yeah, I mean, if I was in a pinch, like Senator said, I would grab this. So for me, I'm gonna give it a 7.
Okay.
Same 7.
I'm also going to give it a 7.
Rookie score is 7 here.
Okay. Pagoda,
I'm at an 8.
8.
I'm giving it an 8.
Okay. All right, boys. The Composite Lizard score is a 7.3.
Respectable.
On a $10 Churchill,
Yeah,
I
respectable.
can't. I'm
Yeah.
shocked. Certainly, and we must say it again. We've said it several times. We have to say it again. Coming into this episode, even when we all sat down to hit record tonight, where we thought this would end up and where it did end up is way, way, way different than my expectations, certainly.
Yeah. I mean, anything over a 7, I think is a soft recommend.
Absolutely.
yes.
Absolutely. We definitely recommend the cigar.
Yes, I take back all. I retract my comments.
I like this version of Pooba.
It's been deleted.
Kinder, gentler
I
Pooba.
can be introspective.
Yes.
All right, boys. Again, a 7.3 for the Oliva V Churchill Extra. Very good. Thanks for the roast. Thanks for the cigars to Grinder, who's not here, but appreciate it. And we'll see you guys next week.
Keep smoking.
Thanks so much for joining us tonight. Hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to leave us a rating and subscribe on your favorite podcast platform. If you have any comments, questions, if you want to reach out, say hello, tell us what you're smoking, email us, loungelizardspod, P-O-D, that's loungelizardspod@gmail.com. You can also find us on Instagram @loungelizardspod. We really appreciate your time, and we'll see you next week.